Ready, thank you.
Excellent. Morning, Carlos. Nice to talk to you. Could we just start with any injury updates after the midweek game? Have there been any fresh injury problems come out of that match?
No, every player that was available the other day will be available tomorrow.
That's good news. We were waiting to hear about Duane Holmes as well. Is he likely to be available this weekend?
He was training yesterday. He will train today. If everything goes well, he can be available tomorrow too. He can be one of the players of the squad.
And another player that people are keen to see return is Jordan Rhodes. Is there any time scale yet on his return?
The idea with Rhodes is to give, before we consider him to be in the first team, to have some minutes in the B team, because like he was long period of time without play football. He was just working with the medical staff. We understand that the option to make him play some minutes in the B team first is going to help him to be fit. It's going to help him to be ready to help the team. So we planificate the next week to have some minutes with the B team. And after these first minutes, we see how he is, because some players, I am watching him enough well for the period of time that he was out. And I don't think he's going to have a long time to recover the level that he needs to help the first team.
But potentially we might see him in some of the matches in the run-up to Christmas.
Yes, I think so. I think he's going to have all the options, because I think after the pain that he has, after he starts to recover from the pain, he starts to make a very intense recovery. That's why I am watching him now better than I was watching him when he arrived in summer to the club, because at that moment he had some restrictions, especially in the mobility, that don't allow him to show all the possibilities that he can offer to the team. So in the 2-3 trainings that he was doing with the group, more in game situation, I was watching him better than I was watching him when he arrived to the club.
Do you feel he's the sort of player that there isn't really anybody else like him in the squad at the moment, or an out-and-out goal poacher?
I think he is one striker that I don't have to talk a lot about his career, because he's one player that has been very, very important in this club, especially in this club, because he had scored many goals, and he talks about the profile of player that he is. So I think that he can offer something different in terms of is one very striker in the box. He's a player, one striker that he has an special intuition to play in the box, because he can use any free ball in the box to finish the actions. And we hope that we show this instinct to help the team to of course, to finish the chances and to score in the opportunities that we have in the game.
You gave Sorba Thomas a rest during the week. How has he benefited from having a full week off? And do you think he will be back in contention to start this weekend?
More than give to him a rest, I was thinking that another player was better to play in that game against QPR in his position, analyzing the performance that was necessary and the behaviors that I was thinking that were necessary to compete against QPR. The fact that one player was in the bench the other day is true, that allowed him to be more fresh than another players that were playing. But this is just one fact that always one of the points that I analyze, but doesn't mean anything else. After we need to see what the team needs, we need to see how the players arrive. And if Sorba play, it's not going to be because he's fresh, it's because we think that he can perform and he can have a positive influence in the team.
And presumably that's a conversation that you had with him so that he fully understands your reasoning, because I'm sure as a player, he would want to start every single game if fit and able to do so.
Yes, it's very important that every player have the mentality or the desire to be in the first 11 to help the first team. But sometimes you don't have to give many explanations when you are playing, and sometimes you don't need a special explanation when you are not playing. It's just decision that the player needs to accept, and decisions that the player need to react from these decisions to show everyone should show when they are in the pitch that they are the best player that can be to help the team. So I think as soon as one player have a lot of ambition, as soon as one player is out and for any reason they recover the possibility to be in this space in the team, in the first 11, they need to show, of course, that they can be the best player in that position to help the team to achieve the target that we have to win the game.
I suppose how a player reacts to having a spell not in the starting lineup tells you a lot about them. You want them to be upset about it, really, don't you? Because you want them to be playing. And Sorba clearly is a very passionate player. You see that from him on the pitch. So were you happy with how he kind of reacted to that news?
I think he reacted well because, first of all, as soon as we were preparing the game, the day before the game, the players start to watch directly who is in the first 11, who is not going to be in the first 11. But in any moment, I was watching any type of bad reaction, but no bad reaction with the group, bad reaction with themselves, because sometimes the player, we don't want that the player made a mistake to react bad, especially with themselves, and they continue working, and he was continue working, knowing that when you are part of one collective sport, when you are part of one squad of 22 players, where only you can pick up 11 players and select 11 players, you know that sometimes 11 players that even they will deserve to be in the first 11 are going to be out. So for me, part of the responsibilities of one professional player is to understand these decisions, is to accept this decision, and is to fight against these decisions. That's why to have this upset feeling that you were telling me is important too, because we want players that react to this situation. We want players that when they are watching that they are not in the first 11, they react in the positive way that they have to react, that is working, and they're showing that they can be the best ones to help the team to win the games.
It's another very quick turnaround. I'm guessing that you didn't get home from London until very late on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, play again on Saturday. So how do you actually use those 48 hours? Were the players back in training yesterday? Have you had much time to work with them over the last couple of days?
I was talking with my players that we need to make the same thing that we do in 1 week or in 6 days, we need to make in 2 days. In 6 days, the first 2 or 3 days you are using to the recoveries, and the next 2 or 3 days you are using to prepare the game. So now we have to use 24 hours to recovery and 24 hours to prepare the game. As soon as we know, this is what we need to do now. This is the challenge, this is what the situation is demanding to us. So yesterday they came to the training ground, we were talking about the game, they were working with the medical staff, because they couldn't work with the technical staff, something normal after the game. And after they had all the afternoon to make the recovery and trying to be a little bit out of the football thinking, or trying to be just to have the mental recovery that is necessary to have. Today, they will arrive here around 12 and we will prepare the game. So we will have just in the opposite way. Yesterday was the recovery and today is going to be the preparation of the game. And this is something that they know. And this is something that when you are a professional football player, you need to know how to manage. And we have played with enough experience to have been living this situation before.
Middlesbrough then, the next visitors at the John Smith Stadium. Obviously, Chris Wilder in charge for a couple of games there now. What are you expecting from them?
I expect what was clear that I am watching one team that they start to play with the style that the new coach want to have. And this happened very fast because for me is one team that suits very well to the mentality of the coach. Because for me, they are a physical team, aggressive team to attack, aggressive team to defense. So anything new in the championship, because we are playing similar, very similar for me, could be even being a different game, have similar things with the game that we are going to play in terms of the shape that the both teams are using, in terms of the mentality of the teams. So we are playing for me 2 games in a row that are going to have some similarity things. But if you analyze even the week, we are playing 1 week with West Bromwich, QPR, and Middlesbrough. That is true that every opponent is different, but we are going to watch many similar points between the 3 teams that we are going to face in 1 week. And when you have this, of course, you need to use the experience of the previous game to prepare the next ones.
You talk about them being quite an aggressive side. Are they quite a big side as well? They seem to have a big physical presence, a lot of the Middlesbrough players.
Yes, but it's something that normally in the championship is true that some teams are more technical teams or more tactical teams. Another one's going to be more physical, and another teams have a little bit of everything. So I think that is going to be one competitive game. We expect this one game that is going to demand a lot of energy, like any team in the championship, because any opponent is going to allow you to play the game without a high level of energy, a high level of demanding of the game. And of course, it's true that they didn't get the 3 points in the last 2 games, even if they deserve to achieve this for me in the last 2 games, because it was clear that for me in both games, they had options to come home both. They didn't do, and they will come here to try to change this dynamic. And we will face the game trying to show again that we are a very competitive team, especially when we are playing at home, we are getting a good dynamic of results. Of course, they will challenge this situation, and we know that we will have to put all our best to continue in the good dynamic. So as soon as we know that what we need to do to face them, what we need to do to be a competitive team, what we need to do to can have options to continue this dynamic, I don't think any problem. This is just a championship game.
And as you say, Chris Wilder has had 2 games, but is yet to win one as Middlesbrough manager. How much pressure does that put on a new manager when he's still searching for those first 3 points? And how long really does it take to implement your ideas on a new squad of players?
Everything is relative, because you cannot say how long and you cannot say how much pressure. Are things that I cannot give you the answer, because everyone is different. Every coach in the world wants to win, and after win, every coach in the world wants to win again. And when you don't win, every coach in the world wants to win the next game, because we know that this is our job and this is our responsibilities, and this is part of our dynamic. So we don't expect any different thing when you are winning or when you are losing the game, because the only thing that every coach wants is to face the next game and win. When you didn't do, you want to win. When you draw, you want to win. And when you won, you want to win again. So it's not going to change anything. So at the end, the mentality that everyone has is to go to the pitch and to see your team achieving the 3 points, because this is the highest level of satisfaction that one coach can have.
And last one from me, you mentioned the home form, which has been excellent for Huddersfield Town this season. Can you put your finger on why home games are going very, very well? On the road, it's been a little trickier this season.
Of course, when you are able to, or when you won games at home and you win games away, you are in the highest level of the league, because it means that you are winning every single game. When you are winning some of these games, can be at home, can be away, so that still you have points to improve and get to the improvement as a team. So for me, it's something that is clear that it's happening to us. When you are not winning in a row every game, you always are going to find reasons why you are not doing. It's true that at home we are having a good dynamic, but sometimes it's coincidence, sometimes it's consequence. I think when you try to play every game with the same mentality, I understand that this is more coincidence than consequence, because I cannot tell you that we prepare in different way one game at home, that one game that we are playing away. But it's true that football, these things can happen, because when you feel the support of your people, of course, when you come to your stadium that you know perfectly, that you know your dressing room, you know that you are not traveling, that you are at home. So you can, of course, you repeat some of the habits that you are having, but some teams have during one period of time dynamic that they are winning at home. Some teams have the dynamic that they are winning away and not at home. This is part of the football. We are going to watch different type of situation, but when you are facing the games in the same way, I cannot give you one reason, but it's true that I understand that from the statistics point of view, is going to appear this fact that we will try to keep our dynamic at home and we will try to change our dynamic away, but it's going to be the challenge that is every football game. So we will try to play every football game with the best of our possibilities to have the more options to be the more competitive team that we have to be.
That's great. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. Dave, good morning.
Morning, Carlos. Just wondered where we are with Pipa and Alex Vallejo's injuries at the moment.
The situation with Pipa continue being the same one. He is going to make today one technical work with some of the members of the staff. The next week, he will increase his intensity, and let's see how he reacts to the improvement of the increasing of the intensity, because he was having problems in decreasing of the intensity, because every time he was training with more intensity, with the necessary football intensity, he was having pain. Nowadays, we hope that with this period of time from the medical staff, they see reasons to understand that he should improve and he should react better with increasing of the intensity. And we hope that this is the situation that happened. With Vallejo, the situation has changed a little bit because, like I was talking with you, during the recovery with the medical staff of the first injury of the knee, appeared a second problem in the knee. And the solution now with the second problem of the knee is going to be the surgery. So we expect that during the next week, he had an injury. And the time of the recovery from this surgery is going to be around 4 to 6 weeks of time. So I don't expect to have him in any of these weeks.
Okay, so sorry, has he had the operation yet, or is he having that next week?
He's going to have the surgery the next week.
Okay. I know you've touched on it a little bit, but I just wondered what it's like for you personally in a week like this to prepare for 3 separate opponents who play in 3 completely different ways. Do you spend a lot of time with your analysts going over the various opponents? How do you set where's your mind at for each game?
No, what we do is like, as soon as we knew the situation before, we start to prepare the situation before. So some of the members of the staff are watching one opponent, another members of the staff are watching another opponent. West Bromwich was one opponent where we could work and prepare the game with enough time. As soon as we start after the Cardiff, immediately after Cardiff, we start to analyze the opponent. We had time to watch them and to identify which type of situation or behavior will be necessary. Like I said before to Catherine, it's true that any opponent that we are going to face is different, but you can find relations between West Bromwich and Middlesbrough, even knowing that they have differences too. And you can find relation between QPR and Middlesbrough, even knowing that, of course, there are differences too. But in terms of the says, for example, that we are going to play in 1 week, we are going to play against 3-4-3, 3-5-2, and I will expect to play tomorrow against another 3-5-2. So all the 3 teams that we are going to face, they are playing with line of 3. All the 3 teams that we are going to play are going to try to be, they are aggressive in defense to make the high pressing. So to be the high pressing is going to be something that is going to be demanding in the next game too, and something that was demanding in the previous games too. We were managing these moments in different way against West Bromwich or against QPR. We had more the game in QPR that we have we had more the ball against QPR than we have the ball against West Bromwich, but in any of both games we had the ball all the time that I think this team can have and that we need to have to control more the games. So of course we will prepare in the game using the experience that the previous games have gave us to try to improve the style of the team.
Just to talk about a couple of individuals, Lee Nichols seems to be in really, really good form at the moment. Have you been surprised since he's come into the club just how good he's been?
I cannot tell you that I am surprised, because I was watching one keeper that had enough experience to play when he was in the last year in League One. I was watching one keeper that had some of the important points that one keeper have to have. But it's true that in this short period of time, he has shown one develop of maturity, of personality, or not develop. He has shown a very good level of maturity, of personality to face championship games. That is being very important for us.
Good. And I'm just looking back at that QPR game. It was good to see Mipo get some minutes at the end there. Have you been pleased with how he's been doing recently on the training pitch?
For me, the minutes against QPR and the fact that he came with the team was the consequence of one improvement in his football behaviors in terms of his growing and his adaptation to the championship level. It's true that only with the training is not enough, because after the game always is the demands of the game is different than the demands of the training. But the fact that Mipo is being involved is because he has shown that he is growing with the pass of the weeks.
Okay. And last one from me. Last Saturday, the atmosphere at the John Smiths was probably, I think it was as good as it's been over the last couple of years. what does that give you on the bench, and what do you think it gives the players on the pitch to hear the stadium in that sort of full voice?
It means a lot. Being honest, it means a lot. That's why we have to try to show our best in the pitch, to mobilize our fans, to give us that, or create this atmosphere that we know that always is going to help us. Because during the games, you know that you are going to have some complicated moments, and we are going to have some moments where you are going to be suffering. And the fact that you realize that you are not alone in the pitch, that you have your people, that you can make happy many people that made the sacrifice to go to the stadium, that made the sacrifice to leave some time, to personal time, to go and be with the team. That, of course, for these people is not just sacrifice, it's enjoying too, because they are doing, because it's part of the one dynamic that they like to. So it means that you only can be in the pitch giving your best, and you only can be there giving the best, because for me, our work is always related with our fans, and trying to show that, trying to create a positive feeling when they go to home. So for me, it's very important to have that feeling, but it's true that we want to take the responsibility to create this environment, trying to give our best to make our fans recognize the team, involved with the team, and give us their best too, that help us a lot to create a positive performance.
Thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Leon, we'll come to you.
Hello, good morning, Carlos. Hi.
Good morning, Leon.
Lewis O'Brien is an excellent player for you. I'm just wondering, how far do you think he can go in the game? Because he looks like he has got everything to be successful.
Yes, I think that from the last year, I always am saying that for me it's a pleasure to be working with one player like O'Brien, because for me it's one player who has a lot of the skills of the best players, because he's one player that, even that he's young, he's showing personality. He's one player that is able to repeat every 2 days or 3 days in between. He's able to repeat a high level of, or to give a high level of performance, physical performance. And this year, for me, every time he's in the pitch, he's showing one level of mature that he didn't show the previous year. So it means that for me, O'Brien continue growing, and to have the option to see one player that is good player from the championship, that continue have the self-demanding to continue growing, it means that I cannot tell you where are the limits of the player, because for me, one player that every week or every season, he's breaking these limits and he continue growing. So I don't know where is the limit of O'Brien. I hope that still we are not watching that limit, because it means that he will continue improving. And when you are working with one player with enough skills that he even continue improving, is something that is exciting for all of us.
Yeah. Jonathan Hogg, your captain, is injured at the minute, but he has a role away from the pitch, club captain, helping everybody and encouraging them. Just tell me about his role when he's injured. What is he doing now? He's obviously trying to get fit, but he has a role in the dressing room as well.
Some players, for me, they show the level of leadership in different ways. For me, Hoggy is one player that he can show the level of leadership in the pitch, because he's one player that always, without words, he's giving example about how compete the games. But it's true that in the back, he's one player that has a lot of experience, and he has one special character to help the dressing room. And I know that he's always every day with us, so he's but different that he's working with the medical staff. But Hogg is one player that for me represents very clear the values that we want in Huddersfield. And when every player is watching him, just watching him is enough to send the message that he is there, that he is with us. And it's important always to have all our players with us. But it's true that the highest level of help of Hogg is when he's in the pitch, because his captain, no, because his words, is one captain because his facts. So are enough example for everyone to have some references for the players in the pitch.
And I was going to ask you, the championship itself, Fulham and Bournemouth look the standout teams, but do you think a lot of the other teams are very, very similar?
Similar to them?
Well, similar to each other. I mean, there does not look a lot between many of the sides below those two.
It's true that if you analyze the table of the championship now, that of course is not going to be the table in 1 month. Is showing that every game is a challenge for every team. So you can have the conclusions that Fulham and Bournemouth are in the highest level because they are in the table in the highest level. But for example, some of the teams that are not in this position on the table are facing very well them too, and are getting a positive results against them. Like could be the example of Derby in the previous weeks, even Preston that was beating Bournemouth was the best team. So the only team that had that won, or the first team that won them in the league. So it means that every game is so competitive in the championship. And for me, the situation on the table show that there are not a lot of differences between the games or between the teams. And for me, is have to create the mental process or the mindset to have a lot of game mentality, because as soon as the league is too tough, you cannot relax, never. And you know that every game and every opponent is going to demand for you the best to have success in the result that you want to achieve. So for me, this is exactly what is happening in the championship.
Thank you, Carlos, and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Leon. Alfie, have you got anything to add?
Hi, Carlos. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Just a quick one from me on Duane Holmes. How much do you feel that you've missed him, and how important will it be to get him back fit if he can get through training today?
Unfortunately, we were losing Holmes playing the first 11 in the team. So when one player had the injury being the first 11 of the team, means that he is an important player, because for me, he was taking this gap. He was protecting this gap. It's true that if we analyze the season of him, he didn't start to be one of the first 11 players. He always was, or he was more helping the team. Well, at the beginning, yes, in the first game, yes, but after he was being more in the bench than in the first 11, and after he started to play from the whole game at home, he started to play in the first 11, showing that he is an important player and he can be a very important player for us in the team. Every performance that I was watching in him from whole game and before, when he was helping the team from the bench, that was the example against Nottingham Forest and was the example against Swansea. For me, he was helping a lot the team. So every time you are missing important players or players that have been helping, it's a challenge for the other ones to show that they can help the team too. And it's amazing for the teammates because they are being an important player. So we hope that tomorrow we have him come back with the group, and if he has in a minute during the game, that he can be helping the team like he was doing in the previous weeks when he was in the first 11 of the team.
What do you think Duane's biggest strengths are, and what he brings to your side? What's so important about him?
I think Holmes is one winger that can play as a playmaker, and Holmes is one playmaker that can play as a winger. So for me, this is one of in these two things that I tell you, I am telling you some of the strength that he has, because he's one player that can help you. For me, every winger, if you analyze the wingers for me in the world, to be an important winger, or you have to be one player that you are very good with association and you help the team to accumulate passes in offensive half, or you need to be one player with a lot of 1v1. For me, Holmes is one player that can play as a winger because he can help the team in the building. He can help the team to accumulate passes in offensive half, and he is someone that can give the last pass and the finishing of the goal. So he has, for me, many of the things that one winger has to have. And at the same time, he's one player that even can play in the middle of the pitch because he has these skills to be looking for passes, to ask for the ball. And he's one player that always wants the ball. And always is important to have players in the pitch that always they are asking for the ball, because it allows you to control better the games.